Hi, I'm Anne-Marie, and I'm so delighted to share this conversation with you today. So, I'm here with my friend and teacher, Veronica Larsson. Veronica is a practical alchemist, natural medicine woman, and energy medicine practitioner. With a background in yoga and subtle body anatomy, her work helps people recognize their innate perfection, intelligent, alive, and filled with divine love. Focused solely on present moment truth, she uses the principles of creation to facilitate deep healing, trauma release, and effortless transformation free from dogma or ideology. Veronica and I first met in 2010 when I joined a yoga teacher training that she was leading. And over the years since then, our paths have intertwined through various trainings and collaborations. And it's been incredible to witness the depth and evolution of her work. I want to interview her today because her unique journey and deep wisdom in healing, energy medicine, and transformation offer invaluable insights for anyone seeking a more conscious and connected way of living. So, welcome,
Mm.
Veronica, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, for taking the time to do this. And thank you for that beautiful introduction. And thank you for being in my life. Yeah, it's been an incredible journey for me to walk with you all these years.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Veronica. So, let's just get stuck straight in. So, your
Yeah.
journey has been anything but ordinary, as far as I'm concerned, from spiritual training to profound personal healing. So, what pivotal moments or experiences have shaped your path into this work?
Hmm. Unprepared questions. It's brilliant. Um, I think the what got me started was the fact that I had scoliosis since birth. So I couldn't really escape from the problems that was causing, just with physical pain and migraines. And I think it was around the age of 20, 22 or 23 when I met with a physiotherapist that she only gave me three simple exercises, but she said, in order for this to heal, you're gonna have to make body work part of your life and part of your life journey. So that only I only remember that a few days ago, and it was yeah, and that kind of the condition of scoliosis and it caused digestive problems and headaches, and that got me started on the yoga and meditation path, and there was a lot of kind of necessitated a lot of strong physical practice at the time. And it was probably 8 or 10 years into that journey when um, some crazy stuff happened with my family that needed attention. And it kind of hit me out of the blue. And that made me go on a deeper journey because I noticed with the yoga practice that I would feel amazing whenever I was in trainings and when I had a good run of practices, but there was a lot of unprocessed emotional content underneath. So I couldn't avoid that anymore with the family stuff that was going on. So I went deeper into like silent meditation and also something called the journey work that Brandon Bass did. So that was a year's training of emotional and cellular release. I think that was around when I was 33. And yeah, I think I hadn't really cried up until that time in my life, apart from if I watched a sad movie. And yeah, I think I cried pretty much for a whole year when I was doing that training. Um, but that got me in touch then with the yoga practice is very, for me, it was an amazing and beautiful way of recognizing how my own mind and my own perception played a big part in how my physical body was functioning and responding to the reality of each breath. and my connection to the ground beneath me. And then all of the emotional work just brought so much more freedom and peace and ease to my heart, and also affected, of course, the tension that the body holds when we're trying to consciously or unconsciously suppress emotions. So that was a kind of change of turn um, on my path to work a little bit more deeply. And yeah, the fast forward a few years, I decided at one point to um, just stop with all the spiritual work because I felt like I just want to be in the real world. Like I want to see how the knowledge that I've gained and the practices that I have, how that can support me in just living a normal life. So that motivated me to go on a journey, and through divine interference, I'd say I met exactly the right people to facilitate a journey of opening a restaurant in Ojai, just north of Los Angeles. And through that experience, I also met Satguru, which I would not be one for following gurus or joining groups, because I've always been like very independent in my connection with myself and with what is true for me. So I don't follow dogma and teachings other than what comes through in the moment. And but this guru appeared, and um, the the journey with the restaurant was, it ended with what at the time was a big betrayal, and I got really sick. And I think the next year from that, where I couldn't eat for 3 months, and I ended up having emergency open abdominal surgery and removing like a foot of intestine. And like it's a long story, but the once I was over the trauma of it, no, that took a long time. But once I was healing again, I could begin to see the gift of my business partner. I could begin to see the gift of the journey. I could begin to see the gift of the healing that that facilitated in my relationship with my mother. And it was a complete loss of my faith in all of the spiritual principles and teachings that I had adhered to. It's a complete loss of like all physical and financial and um, anything that I had built or worked for. So I was just on ground zero, barely alive. So as horrible as it was at the time, and I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone, that was the moment that really humbled me to the gift of what this life is. Just the simplest little things that we can actually feel: the wind on our skin, feel the warmth of the sun, feel the cold of the water. So that um, brought me past many layers of resistance to this reality and to receiving love and help and support. So that was a big thing. And then a couple of years later, I did the medicine woman training with my teacher, Mira Michelle, in Germany at the time. And because I'd been so focused on the yoga lineage, which very much I feel that that goes back lifetimes for how it connects in my body, in my mind, in my inner intelligence. But with the medicine woman training, that really brought me into sisterhood, which like trusting women on a deep level and actually receiving the love and the support for my own healing. I think the pattern there is that I don't know about people listening, um, but a lot of people, we're so conditioned to as soon as we receive something that we have to give something back, that people don't have time for us, that we have to be somebody in order to respond to our environment, in order to be loved, accepted, belong, survive. So that was a great, great blessing. And yeah, I think the with that then with the work that I'm doing now, the another huge blessing is the witnessing of my sisters. It's like the greatest gift to get to be to carry that work forwards and to yeah, I just cherish you and our sisters so so much. It's just a beautiful space and it's yeah, and it's like I love you. We're great friends, and then there's something so much bigger that we're all remembering and that works for us and with us too. Yeah, so that we can come to know who we are and actually be at ease with that. So yeah, that's as short as I could make it.
Thank you so much. So, with regards to your work, how would you describe the essence of what you do to somebody who either hasn't heard of you or to somebody new to this work?
Yeah, I think the essence is that each of us are so powerful, so so powerful beyond what we can grasp on a level of intellect, beyond like what we can almost beyond what we can know and feel from a level of neurological wiring. Um, the essence is just the truth of what is occurring in each moment, and just being present with the truth of whoever I'm working with and whatever is true in the field. It's doubts and beliefs and fears that say that we're not good enough, that we're not allowed to take up space, that we have to play small, that we're not allowed to embody and share the full capacity of the magic and the medicine that we each carry. When I say medicine, I'm simply referring to the full presence of who we are, that is so loving and caring for for the well-being of other people. And all all I do really, like in some way, we have to use some sort of structure or form in this physical realm to get to see where we are in our bodies, in our psychology, how we relate to ourselves, our body, to others, to being in nature, on the land. Um, but what it does is it places us just in the truth and the power of the moment. And then things unfold from there. Yeah. So I do work with the body and the mind and the breath, work with movement. I work with silent meditation, guided meditation. Um, we work with ceremony. um, where I set up like specific um, constellations of physical reality and work with the underlying principles or laws of creation to um, establish where we are in our relationship to um, who we are in this reality. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
So for somebody who maybe is not familiar with these terms, like what is practical alchemy or a practical alchemist? What is being a natural medicine woman or the laws of creation? How would you explain those terms to somebody who doesn't have a clue about this work?
Yeah, I'll start with the practical alchemist. I think the alchemy for me is a potent word because in my experience of how I've healed the the things that I've been going through and also that I see working for others is the alchemy happens when we accept full responsibility for our part in creation. And it's the responsibility, like a lot of people say, like we want freedom. Yeah, we want freedom, we want joy, we want to feel the power of life that creates us. And the like the kingpin for me is the personal responsibility and actually saying yeah, I'm the one that's here and I'm the one that from this moment forth, even if it's not all the time, um I'm the one who's going to be actively participating and creating my experience of reality. So like we don't always get what we want, but we usually get what we need. But the alchemy is in that text of natural law that begins with "in the beginning" is the word or sound. So we each have the power with our word to author and to speak or sing um, a different experience of reality into being in each moment. So, and we also have the ability to, when our mind is going crazy or when it's just automatic loops that keep creating the same circumstances that we're not happy with, but we actually have the power to stop and to begin to write a new story about life, about who we are, about how we want to relate to others. So that's the alchemy part. But that really, like, it relates to the subtle body in the way that the sound comes from from the fifth chakra, the throat chakra. Like the thoughts, we can say, live in the intellect body, but the alchemy, the throat chakra relates to Mercury, which is the equal conductor of yin and yang energy, and that transmutes and facilitates communication. And it's like the meet where the opposites can meet. So we have two brain hemispheres. We have like sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system, and the alchemy is in bringing ourselves into a coherent relationship within ourselves with so the subtle body work kind of facilitates that through working with the energy pathways in the body and how each of the chakras are able to either um, feed the information of who we are all the way down to the level of physiology or bring the energy of our physical body, which is it's physical, yeah, material, but it's also made of energy, and the it's designed to self-balance and self-heal, but often we're very busy doing other things in our heads, and we sometimes don't have a lot of faith or trust in that we're actually created perfectly. And that sometimes if we stop doing everything we're trying to do to try and fix and heal, healing happens. But it doesn't happen without our choice of being present with ourselves. So a lot of the time when we're working with specific practices that are in yoga, they would be called tapasya, where the alchemy takes place in when we connect the internal pathways so that the energy that's been stuck in maybe tension or trauma suppression or beliefs that are not true, that energy actually gets absorbed back into the more subtle layers of the body and into whatever chakra might be um, off on whatever little journey it's off on, so that the energy can actually return into our central channel, and healing then happens as a result of that. So, yeah. That's the alchemy. The natural medicine woman would be medicine woman or medicine man. I can't speak for medicine men because I don't have a male body. So I don't have the current experience of how that expresses for a man or in a man, because I'm a woman in this lifetime. But the the medicine is really like who we are when we are connected to ourselves, to the wisdom that we carry from like our lineages, from lifetimes of a lot of people that are on this path would have been on this path for a lot a lot more years than simply this lifetime. And there's like an awakening that happens when we connect with who we are. So the natural medicine is, for me, it's not so much medicine heals, but it heals because in the remembrance of our own capacity and wisdom and love, we can be present with the power that lives in somebody else. So we don't have to take on the mantle of, I'm going to fix you because you're broken. Like it becomes more, I'm going to be with you and witness your magnificence, even when that brings up tremendous amounts of pain or shame or fear. I'm gonna be here with you so that we can both remember who we are. Yeah, yeah.
And
So
then
that's it. Yeah,
go on.
yeah. No, it's a blessed gift to get
Mhm.
to actually do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. And the natural laws of creation, how I know this is all interwoven and they're all interlinked, but what would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. The natural laws, it's like anything that we say is like a fixed law. We can point to examples of people that are not bound to the same laws as other people. For somebody, something might be true. For somebody else, something else might be true. So I would say, in a simple way, the natural laws are that, or the natural principles is that there are um, polar opposites that exist in the fabric of life in the form of electricity. So without the tension created by electricity or without charge, there's no life. So we can say electricity or we can say light, right? So the this apparent duality is like we can call it the plus and the minus of day and night, um, in breath and out breath, light and dark, etc., etc., etc. And then, of course, we have then we also have the one who's experiencing all of these things, which we can say we have the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, and the Divine Child. And the relationship between these aspects of creation are present in like the organ pairs in the body, the two brain hemispheres, the nervous system, um, and the understanding how nature functions in our bodies, understanding how we're connected to and how warmth and cold or forests or mountains or water or wind or the sun or the moon affects us, understanding how our own psychology and our own like unconscious programming and conditioning affects us, then so this just places us in a position where we can, when something occurs that is like very stormy, mentally, emotionally, physically, I say that the subtle body anatomy is how the laws of creation are written in our bodies.
Mhm.
So they're all like reflections or mirrors of different principles of creation. Like anybody who's interested in astrology might be aware that all of the zodiac signs relate to different functions in the body, different organs, different parts of the body. Um, so it's useful rather than kind of thinking that I'm going to learn these and I'm going to practice these and I'm going to arrive at the light at enlightenment and like always feel fantastic. It's when shit happens, which it does, and when, for example, for menopause, when our hormones change, that's another adventure in itself. But or we have stuff going on with family, in relationships, in changes, and like with everything that's going on in the world, it's like when we have an understanding of like of what is real and how things function, we don't need to battle against reality.
Mhm.
So I don't need to battle against or try and fix whether my body breathes or not. There's a much deeper natural function there that if I actually allow myself to be breathed, if I actually allow, if I'm in pain, if I actually allow myself to feel what my body is trying to tell me, and I stop everything else and I lean into it and allow the contraction or the tension to bring me to its core, it will release. So it's very much, I would say that the principles and the laws of creation are always seeking harmony. And for whatever reason, when we're out of harmony or we're in discord with the connection with our own soul or in our lives, then our bodies will automatically tell us something needs attention through the natural laws.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's the oscillation, the wave, like the wave. The beauty of it is that the constant motion of energy and life, which, like when we really go into it, there's a lot of stillness in there at the core of it. Um, but the beauty of it is that the natural principles, they don't judge us. They simply are as they are. So it takes out the the need to fight or battle, but it also brings us very much into the present moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it's what's coming to me in this moment.
Yeah. And you mentioned a couple of times the subtle body anatomy, and I know that that's one of the offerings that you've got coming up at the moment. So I would like to talk about what you have coming up. So can you share what's on the horizon for the foreseeable future or this
On
year?
the horizon. Yeah, the because my studio is just finished here,
Yay!
so I'm very much looking forward to working out of my own space. And the subtle body anatomy, I'll be running a series of workshops so that people can actually come and get a sense of what what it involves, and probably the training might start in the autumn, I'm thinking. So that's one of the offerings. I'll have several weekend workshops from now until the autumn of the subtle body anatomy, here in my studio near Farnes in County Wexford. And yeah, because it's such a vast subject, like I'm not really like I have no interest in being a band-aid handout enabler. It's like I could do classes or workshops, but because the body of work is so vast, it really merits like a deeper immersion or training in order for the subject matter to be grasped
Mhm.
and integrated and understood to some level. So um, that's why I'm not running like regular classes as such, because I want people to actually begin to um, connect deeper with who they are so that they can use the principles and be empowered to do their own practices without the need for always reaching outside of themselves, because like our body is an energy creating capacitor, and like connecting with the part of us that can work with that consciously to support our health and our well-being, both physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, is like I'm more interested in actually giving people the knowledge so that they can um use it for themselves. And of
Mm.
course, if anybody is teaching yoga, it's a great deep dive to access underlying principles that are active in yoga practices and yoga teachings. Yeah.
So is this training or the workshops that you're doing, which will hopefully fit into a longer course? Who is this training open to? Is it yoga teachers, just yoga teachers, or who else?
Um, for yoga teachers, it's just amazing. I would say, yeah, if you're a yoga teacher and you're wondering, like, if you want to explore deeper aspects of yoga, it's definitely an amazing body of work to explore. Um,
I would actually say that
but
it is. like this body of work, because I've done this training with you, and I would say that it should be part of every yoga teacher's journey. So just would say that. Anyway, I know it's not just for yoga teachers though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, well, I think that's why I developed the course because when I was teaching the 5-day modules on the 300-hour teacher trainings, it was, yeah, it's so clear that it's not enough. It's not
Mm.
enough. So let's do a whole 200-hour teacher training with only this. And then, yeah, then we ended up doing another year after that. But um, I would say anybody who has a yoga practice, anybody who has uh, yoga or any kind of physical activity or dance practice or that has a meditation practice, or that works with the breath, because they all come together in the subtle body anatomy. So really, or like anyone who actually just wants to feel connected within themselves, like if you know that stuff is going on and you can't figure it out, like to put yourself on the path and in the space and give yourself the time to actually connect up the inner pathways within yourself, that will make a big difference. So it's pretty much open to anyone that feels the call.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
workshops are a great way for people who are curious and maybe don't know that if it's for them or not, but it gives them a great opportunity to just experience your work and the work of the subtle body anatomy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Because it's very simple and accessible, and it's also very deep.
Hmm.
So it's not for everyone.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, people will find out in the workshops if it resonates and calls some sort of remembrance of how it feels to be whole or to be in coherence. Or yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah, fantastic. So at the very end of this call, we will share details of how people can find out more information about the work that you've got coming up. So that's the subtle body anatomy. What else have you got going on?
Oh, there's all sorts. First of all, I'm just going to close the door here. Um, yeah, the starting at the equinox is this year's medicine woman training. Yeah.
Exciting.
So, yeah, I think there's two places left on that. So big call out to a couple of women that feels the call. The I'm opening it up to more new sisters this year, just a bit of restructuring, and you'll be joined by older sisters, we call it. Um,
So can we
so
maybe go back a little bit on the medicine woman
yeah,
training and maybe talk about how it's structured and what it is, what its purpose is, just for
yeah,
somebody who's never heard of it. I've heard
yeah.
of it, I've been doing it for the last few years. So but yeah, so for new people or women who who have never heard about this course or training or body of work, how is it structured?
Thank you. Yeah. How it's structured is we spend uh, 4 days or 3 nights together, 6 times during the year, and the we might be indoors or in a house, or we might be camping. Um, the, it's really based on sisterhood, like true showing up for ourselves and for each other. So we all cook food and bring to the weekends. At the camping, like we have to bring water, and um, it's there's I would say it's a space where you actually you're given the space to just be and feel who you are. And we do have structured sessions. We um, have circle, we have sharing, we have guidance around getting in touch with whatever might be going on for us that is causing suffering or discord or trouble in our lives. Usually, what needs to be addressed comes up quite strongly before the weekend, even. Uh, the medicine woman training also, we work with the medicine wheel. So there is teaching and training and experience of how to set up a medicine wheel, how to do invocations and work with the elements and the directions. Um, there's also, depending on the time of the year, um, depending on the seasons, there's, and depending on what is going on for each of the sisters, there's also ceremonies to um, facilitate the movement of energy that wants to come through in that at that time. Um, it's very strong work. It's because we've been working in this field now for a few years here on the land, and the land works with us, the trees work with us, the waters work with us, the wind works with us, the and that's just how it should be. That's how we used to live. So it's not like anything special or magical. Um, but it does also bring back online the body's natural intelligence to reassemble itself back into wholeness. So it's a beautiful trauma trauma release also happens in that space. Yeah.
So you
Did I miss
mentioned
anything?
no, no. Just for clarity, you mentioned the older sisters and the newer sisters. That's not an age thing. So,
No,
would you like to
no.
say a little bit more about that aspect of this?
Yeah, yeah. So the you're a new sister if it's your first year. Each year has a different integration ceremony. And they're very powerful ceremonies because in ceremony we use our own word to actually um, author our life story. And the the new and the newer sisters, it's simply that they have the benefit of the older sisters that have already gone through those couple of years of training themselves. And because the training is about bringing forth your own unique medicine, like every sister has the opportunity to be on the receiving end of the medicine of all of the other sisters. So, because somebody who is an older sister might have just more experience in this context of this particular lineage and medicine, um, the weave that's created from that is like an invaluable gift in itself, I would say. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if that describes it really. What would you say?
I would say that while the weekends can be structured, they're very fluid. We work with whatever comes up over that weekend. And that can change. Yeah, and it is really about being in the sisterhood or being in community with each other. And then with regards to the older sisters and the newer sisters, it's like this isn't a training that you do that you tick the box and you do 6 modules in the year and then the training is done. This is a journey that it's a journey that reflects our lives and how we are journeying through our lives. It's not something that we just do once. Um, and every time you move around the spiral, or every time each year you're going deeper and deeper through the layers. And the older sisters, or the people who've been doing the training for longer or this work for longer, um, they bring a depth and a strength then to the whole container. So even when newer sisters join, there is the support and the like the older sisters almost help hold the space for the newer sisters, and then it allows them to reach a depth in their own journey much quicker um
Yeah.
than maybe they would if they didn't have the support of the older sisters. um
Yeah.
is that accurate? Is that fair to say?
That's very accurate. Thank you for your clarity of words. Yeah. Yeah, that's very much what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
community is a big part of it, and you did mention community, but I'd like to talk a little bit more, like, so how does walking this path together deepen the experience?
I think for me the prayer to carry this work forwards is really like it's almost like a response of gratitude to the older sisters that held me when I first came into contact with this work. I feel like the way that we can relate to each other as women is, and that happens on the training because of the energy and the prayers and the intention of the training is is very different to how maybe women relate to each other in just normal society. Um, and I think that the being together for like several days and nights, like you sleep in your own tent or whatever, or you share, doesn't matter. It's all up to you. I feel like it's not dogmatic. It's a each woman has the space to come as she is and to bring all of her gifts, to take the space in the places, like when we go into the work, to address and hold and be held with whatever is moving. And because it's not like a course, we go to the thing and then we go and then we leave. It's like we're actually with each other and are aware of each other, and we get to recognize like the level of care that is actually required, um, both for ourselves and for each other, to establish like a honest relating that's not based on it's not based on looks, it's not based on um like special skills. It's not that there's just a real realizing that these women are my sisters and they would do everything for me, and I want to show up for them with the from the depth of my being. So it's a very, I think, like to come to that level of connection with ourselves and with each other, like that really is the true medicine. And like out of that space, like the beauty that is created, the songs that come, and the just the sitting together around the fire at night, and it's yeah, it's very very special and precious in its utter naturalness. This, yeah,
Yeah, it really is.
yeah,
And like
yeah.
while there is like, there are teachings and there are practices, it's also in like for me in the community aspect of it, it's in the basic fundamental sort of we need to bring wood for the fire, we need to bring water. Like if we're camping outdoors, it's wild camping. There's no electricity, there's it's like everything has to be brought, and it's in the dynamics of kind of living like it's only for a few days each module, but still it's in the dynamics of relating to each other in the bringing food or making food or bringing wood or collecting water. It's that where some of the real medicine is, and it's in the sitting, like you said, it's in the sitting around the fire. um it's almost the moment sometimes that you're not expecting, like you kind of sometimes expect the work to be happening in the deep practices, and it does happen in the deep practices, but it also happens in just the everyday moments where we are making food together. And every woman has responsibility for herself, and also every woman has responsibility for holding the container in that community. That's what I would say.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and I think with with the pace of life these days, and with like you really get from the medicine woman training what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's back to the principles of and the alchemy of nature. It's like when we're challenged, how do we choose to show up? How can we show up? Where are our limits? Where do we need to honor ourselves? And um, it's, I think it's almost like an unconscious like entrainment of, oh, if I want something, I'll just click a button, or I'll pay some money, or I'll do a little bit of um, like showing up for show. But it's this just goes so much deeper just by default of the format of the training, that it really shows you the extent to which you are capable of showing up beyond like victimhood or perceived limitations. And then it also brings like in all of the wounding that is in there, we actually get to access the power that we've abandoned
Mm-hmm.
in the past. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing work.
It is. It's very real and
Very real. Yeah.
very real. And it's an opportunity to be seen fully, in a very supportive and safe way, but to really, really let yourself be seen and to really let yourself show up. Um, an invitation, a very deep invitation to meet yourself and be witnessed by the other women, the sisters. And yeah, stuff happens when you allow yourself to step into that space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It does. And it comes with that like you have to be the one that takes the step,
Yeah,
that puts yourself there.
yeah.
So if that's the deep desire in your heart to be truly witnessed, to truly know yourself. And there's lots of other offerings in the world. It's not that this is the only one, but this is a an offering that very much welcomes you in your full power.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And yearning might be just a whisper, but if the whisper's even there a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me more. What else is going on then? What else is coming up?
Um, yeah, we the subtle body anatomy workshops and training coming up. The medicine woman training. So it starts in just like 5 weeks. I think
Hmm.
it's 5 or 6 weeks away. So if you're hearing the call, get in
Hmm.
touch. I would
Now is
say
the
that.
time.
And yeah, and then we also have the medicine path, myself and Anne-Marie, last year we started um, a training, a course called the medicine path. And yeah, I tell you, cannot tell you, Anne-Marie, I cannot tell you if you're listening, like the blessing that it's been to work with you, Anne-Marie. You're just absolutely mind-blowingly incredible. Your work is incredible, and I'm learning so much. And in that, I also know what I'm bringing. I know what we're each bringing, and I the synergy that occurs in that space, like it's quite a structured course. Same as the medicine woman, we also do site visits and pilgrimages. We work on the land, we work indoors with ceremonies, and you bring a lot of your tools from your shamanic training, and that was separate to any work with me. Healing work and coaching work, that all the deep work that you've done. And yeah, we have actually a lot of fun. And yeah, but it's a really good way, I would say, um to learn different tools, because you're very good at just having clarity around specific tools. Like the medicine woman training is a bit looser, but you're just brilliant in like delivering specific tools, and it's much bigger than that. But it's a really good way also to learn about the medicine wheel, to learn about how to work with the elements, to work with the ancestors. And that's a very general kind of term, but it's very powerful work. It happens in the medicine woman training as well, but it kind of runs through both courses. We cannot do this work without addressing our connection, our the end result of our ancestors that we are. And there's so much deep work there, and you have a lot of experience in that. So yeah, what else would you say about the medicine path
It's
that we have coming up?
um it's a really beautiful journey, and it's open to men and women. It's not just open to women, it's open to
Yeah,
everybody. And yeah, it's a very, I would see it as a very healing journey, a very personal journey. It's a beautiful weaving between the work that you've done and the work that I've done. I think we work really well together, and I'm so delighted to be doing this with you as well. I just want to say it was so much fun last year, and yet it is
so much
deep.
fun.
It is deep.
Yeah,
Um, but I think everybody who did the course last year would say it was an incredible transformative experience, and they
yeah,
got to know themselves on a very deep level, um, and to really embody what they are or who they are and what the gifts that they have. Um, yeah. So, and similarly, even though it is quite structured, it's different every time we run the course, even though last year was the first year. But even as we were going through last year, we were kind of seeing how it was going to evolve in subsequent years. And on paper, while each year might look similar, every module, every day, every moment is always going to be different than what went
yeah,
previously. And similarly to the medicine woman training, every time you do this, you're going deeper. You're working with a different you're working in different energies, and you're working with yourself on a deeper level. So it's always going to be different. You're going to be bringing different aspects of yourself to it. So yeah.
yeah. And I think for any journey, it's like the parameters shift
Mm-hmm.
as we go along. Um, yeah, I would say I would add in that both on the medicine woman training and the medicine path, we also have the like sometimes we do fire walks, we have fire ceremonies, we also have the night vigil, what is usually known as the a vision quest. But yeah, there's a lot of very powerful ancient practices that really connects us to ancient ways, I would say, of working like with the land, like in the druidic or the shamanic traditions of like all native and nature-based cultures, which is we can say that it's as much as we can kind of think that it's only earth-based, it's like spirit is right here. The spirit is in the core of everything. So yeah, it's amazing work,
Yeah. Yeah.
very deep
Yeah.
and practical and fun. Yeah, yeah.
So that's starting the first module is starting on the 11th of April, I think. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the details for all of the offerings that I have and that we have together, they're all on my website. It's houseofremembrance.com or veronicalarsson.com. And you also have the details of the medicine path on your website, which is,
AnneMarieSouthcombe.com.
yeah,
Second, I had to
anresouthcombe.com.
remember.
Yeah, and we'll put them in the notes of the video as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I just ask, generally speaking, who are these courses suited to? Are any of the courses suited for, specific types of people, or, if somebody is kind of going, okay, so I'm hearing about the subtle body anatomy, I'm hearing about the medicine woman training, I'm hearing about the medicine path. I don't know which one to go for.
Mm, um, like if you've been listening to us talk about the work, I would say go to the website and just read through the description of each of the courses and see what feels like what resonates most for you. Um, I would say people who will get the most benefit out of any of this work are like if you're willing and prepared to actually commit to going on a journey. So it's not like oh, I'll just do a little bit when I can. If that's how important the work is to you, then it's probably better just to go to like regular an hour-long class here and there, I would say. It's like the invitation is it doesn't matter from where you come, what you've done, how old you are. It's really like I would say the invitation is when you know that it's time to explore who you are, why you're here, like how you can participate in your own healing and in life on a deeper level. And you know it's time to hmm, explore a different path or and you're committed to it. That's what I would say.
Mhm. And that being said, do people need prior experience, or are these courses beginner friendly? What would you say?
Um, I would say if if this is your first time hearing about this and it makes no sense to you, like wherever we are in life, we're none of us are beginners in life, but it might be that a spiritual or mind body practice is all new, but that doesn't mean that the wisdom alive in our souls isn't there. Yeah. So it might be we can be very experienced on certain levels and not so experienced on others, whether it be experienced in living a normal life without any self-inquiry. But I would say that it's open to anybody who feels the call,
Mhm. Yeah.
because if you do feel called, then there's like strongly, then there's something, or whisper,
Hmm.
but you know that there's something there, then there is something there for you in the course.
Hmm.
Um, so it doesn't, like, the subtle body anatomy work is very accessible. It's not lots of crazy yoga postures. Like, we do work with the body, but it's more like energetic keys. Like, it's strong work, but it can be accessed by anyone. So yeah,
Yeah.
wherever you are, if you feel the call, I would say. What
Mm.
would you say?
Sometimes it just comes down to giving yourself permission. So
Yeah,
if there's a spark of interest or curiosity, um, yeah, like if sometimes for me it's
yeah,
like if I feel it in my gut or if I feel it in my belly or if I'm feeling a yes in my body somewhere or even just this sounds interesting.
yeah,
Sometimes that's enough. That's the spark. And very often
yeah,
we ignore it because life is busy or we've got commitments or,
yeah,
there's lots of reasons to not do the thing that we might be feeling draw towards. So I think it comes down to sometimes it comes down to giving us.
yeah,
So
yeah. I would concur. Yeah, yeah. I know before I set out to the States where I met, like, where my it was a retreat in Hawaii, consciousness retreat, where I met all of the people that were instrumental in the whole journey through, like, California, and a lot of deep spiritual work. And I'd already booked my tickets, like, work that evolved, like, it unfolded for 3 or 4 years and was so deep for me. I had booked the tickets, I'd arranged everything, and then I was like, yeah, but I don't really need to go. Like, I was talking to my friend, and I was like, oh, I'm fine, really. I don't need to. And oh, it's just gonna be like hassle. I don't really know how the money is gonna work out. And then in the end, I did end up going. But there was definitely, yeah, I could have made up any number of reasons why I didn't need to do it. And yeah, so permission, giving ourselves permission to heed the call.
yeah, absolutely. I can honestly say I have never regretted giving myself permission. And sometimes
Yeah,
it can be hard to make the decision. Because yeah, there are many perceived obstacles that we can find, but I
yeah,
have never regretted giving myself permission to do any of the work or trainings that I have done. So yeah.
yeah. And I
Um,
would say, yeah, just if you're interested in any of the trainings, just reach out
mhm.
and we'll have a call and
And
see.
Veronica, there's loads of other work that you do as well. Like you do one-to-one sessions. I know you're doing an online course with another amazing woman called Charlotte Picard. And a lot of this information is available on your newsletter, which you don't, to be fair, you don't send it out very often. But if somebody
Yeah,
wanted to subscribe to your newsletter, I presume they can find details of that on your website.
yeah, on it's on the front page of veronicalarsson.com. You can sign up for the newsletter there.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'll just mention very quickly, it's the end. Thank you. If you've listened this far, thank you so much. And the on Thursday, I'm doing uh, together with Charlotte Picard, medicine sister and the traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture practitioner. Amazing, beautiful work. And we're doing a 5-week online course.
So that's starting this Thursday, the 13th of February. Is that
Yes, yeah,
from
7 to 9
7 to
for
9?
5 Thursdays.
Yeah.
And Charlotte will be guiding us through the energy, like, practices around the female sacred energy that creates life in our bodies and how that's wired. And we'll have some guided meditations about the elements of water and earth that create life together with fire and air, of course. But yeah, Great Mother Medicine, we're calling this offering. So that'll, yeah, beautiful, nourishing, and yeah, bringing your sacred female energy online in your body and in your life.
Hmm. I will be there. I can't wait.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
Um, so just before we finish, I just want to share your just to for how people can get in contact with you. So if people want to email about any of the work that you're doing, or even to organize a one-to-one session, what's your email address?
It's Veronica Yoga, one word, and then it's a dot, and I'm adding in extra words just for, and then it's a Veronica Yoga, no, Veronica Yoga and the swirly A at
Uh,
gmail.com. Yeah,
veronicayoga@gmail.com. And then your websites are veronicalarson.com and houseofremembrance.com.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom. Um, and to everyone listening, be sure to check out Veronica's work. And if you're feeling called to join any of these courses or workshops, now is the perfect time. So, my love to you, Veronica. My love to all that are listening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you everyone for listening. And thank you, Anne Marie, for holding the space and making this happen.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah.
Now that's the
Now
end.
is the time.
Yeah, now is the time.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of this conversation. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you.